guys, welcome back to another week of Oddtastic, your comedian's guide to autism. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Kirk, and my co-host and buddy
Graham K.
Boom.
You guys all know this. My brother is someone with autism, and he had a big job interview today. I'm about to call him, see
Long-time listeners know he will work weekends now.
see if he got the job. Giving him a little call. He might still be in the interview, so if he doesn't pick up, that's good. In a way. All right, well, let's call back later in the show, at the end of the show, and we'll see if he picks up.
All right. This is Comedian's Guide to Autism, and every week we give you an update of what's going on in our loved one's life with autism.
Do you have anything going on with you, Kirk, with JJ?
You got to experience a little call of JJ
I did.
giving an update, his own update. Did you understand anything?
He kept saying, okay.
Yeah.
What else did he say?
He said, he repeats a bunch of phrases, and you're trying to parse it together, and what happened? What happened? So then that's partially probably on me.
He kept going like, what happened? What happened? What happened? And then he would go like, he would giggle a little bit, which was sweet, and you called him a little monkey, which is very cute.
Yes.
I love that you call him a little monkey.
You call him a little monkey, although he's more of an ape. He's a big man. He's bigger than me.
Yeah, a big guy.
He's a big dude. He is a big dude. He's doing good, I think. I'm counting down trying to get organized to do this summer trip to the land of 10,000 lakes, going to Sweden this summer, and going with my mother, trying to coordinate when you go, my mom's 71 now, so, as you get a little older, things are a little more, she doesn't like to travel on her own as much.
Yeah.
In a foreign country, and so she wants to.
My parents are 74. They will not visit me in New York City. It is.
They'll
drive to Florida tomorrow, but they will not. They can't drive past.
New York City's too crazy.
I don't know. They just don't.
They're not a fan.
Well, they don't want. They travel. They're old. They don't want to travel. But apparently they can.
But it's on the way.
I know. That's what I keep telling them. They're like, it's out of the way, though. We got to make a left or whatever. They're just like, all right.
Yeah, it's like 2 hours, but it's your...
But like 10 years ago, they would come, and now they won't.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So we're trying to figure it out. So that would be end of August we're planning to go on, which is if you're going to go to Scandinavia, that's the time to go. August. That's the fun time.
Yeah.
And
Canada as well.
Yeah, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm. July, August. Good times.
That's the best time.
Mm-hmm.
JJ's got this back in his backyard. They've got all these wild growing berries, blueberries and blackberries, and what's called lingonberries, which they make this like jam and drinks out of it too. And so he goes and wild berry picking, but there's no basket, straight from hand to mouth. You get off the bush, straight to his mouth. And so he likes it. It's a good activity for him. Yeah. He picks those bushes dry.
He's like a bear.
Yeah, he's a big bear, big hairy bear.
He's got to bulk up for his big sleep.
So, but the aides like it because at least he'll go outside and it's a little activity and he'll do something. And it's like, so he does like that. And they've got 2 apple trees in the backyard that are very tart, like kind of like crab apples, but he'll eat them. He'll eat them. Although they have had a couple of elks. They have big elks in Sweden that do frighten him. He'll just look from the window. If he sees the elk, he won't go outside. But yeah, so that's the big summer of berry eating.
And
that's
the crab apples don't make him sick?
No. We've talked about this before. He's got like a lot of kids with autism, some constipation problems. But as far as like make him sick, vomit, he's got like a steel constitution. If he wants to eat it, he'll just eat it. It's all going down the hatch.
Yeah, my brother's like that.
Same with the berries.
Yeah.
He'll just plow through like an hour's worth of berries. They've got to be varying degrees of ripeness too. It's like he's not just picking the super ripe ones.
Yeah. Maybe he likes the ones that aren't so ripe.
Well,
get him a little buzz.
I do think it's funny, like when you put something in front of him that we've prepared, he's a little more finicky. But if it's something he's picked off the branch, he's straight down the hatch.
Interesting.
Yeah. Something about being a hunter-gatherer, I'm guessing. Something instinctive.
Maybe. This is a bit off topic, but I read something a while ago about this. I think it was in Sweden. It was like this elk that used to come in, giant one would come into town, and there was like a crabapple tree, and he used to love to eat the rotting ones that had fallen because it would get him drunk.
A little bit drunk, yeah.
And he'd
I've
walk
read that
around
too.
town, and they go, oh, they call him like Bernie the Moose or whatever. Oh, Bernie's, well, steer clear, Bernie's drunk again.
That's hilarious.
Be a little aggressive, then he'd pass out on someone's lawn. Blah.
This is the left topic, but at our wedding, no, excuse me, it was my brother-in-law's wedding. He had these two Swedish friends that he went to school with, and one of them couldn't make it because they went camping, and he was attacked by an elk, which is, people forget, it's like 1,200 pounds. This is a big animal.
Yeah.
And I like threw him in the air, broke his hip, broke an arm, They weren't even hunting. They were just out in the, and I can't remember what spooked the elk, and he got like run over.
Jeez.
It was really something else, yeah. And then they had another friend who hit. It's very common up where they live, where my wife is from, where they, if you hit an elk with your car, the elk walks away and your car's destroyed.
Yeah.
Destroyed.
Yeah. They say in Canada you don't want to hit a moose because you'll die because they're higher than the
Yeah.
windshield.
You knock their legs out and you push the whole body into the cabin. Is what happens in Sweden. Same thing.
Yeah.
You like knock the legs out from under them and they just
Yep.
squish you. Anyway,
That's why you got to buy a Fiat and just go right underneath.
maybe a little Fiat 500.
Yeah.
A little, what is that, Mini Cooper? That could be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're planning this trip. Trying to plan
exciting.
activities. We're starting to, I think we're going back to the water park that he liked last time. There'll be several trips to IKEA. There'll be
Loves the IKEA food. He
Oh.
goes for the food, right?
goes for the food everywhere. He'll drag you to some outdoor kiosk that serves some sort of knockoff Slurpees, and yeah, it's summer. It's fun. It'll be fun.
That's going to be awesome. Do you like going to Sweden? I mean, obviously your son, but
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
okay. It's not, so I was talking to somebody about this, about vacation. I take 4 weeks off a year to go see him, but it's not exactly a vacation. It's work.
yeah. Yeah.
It's work. It's fun, but it's work.
Totally.
Yeah, because you're taking him to different things, and he's not always into it, and he's not always, so. But I don't want him to just sit at home and just hang out. So I want him to like.
For sure. How often do you go twice a year for 2 weeks, or you go four times for a week?
4 times for a week. Yeah.
That's good. So he remembers. You're fresh in his memory if you do it that way.
I don't know. I think so. We have a call every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. About a third of the calls are him saying, "Okay, bye bye, bye bye, bye bye." But you just today you talked to me.
He
Yeah.
talked to you for a long time. You had
Yeah.
to cut him off.
I have to cut him off. I just wanted to leave on a positive thing where he's like, "Okay."
Yeah. Show, but you've been in showbiz. You got to leave
Leave him wanting more.
Leave them wanting more. There you go. Well, we're all excited.
What was the Peter's interview at? Do we know that?
Peter's okay. We are recording this at
210?
2:10.
2:17.
His interview was at 1:30ish. 1:30. So, maybe we'll check back in at the end. Hopefully, we'll get a verdict if he got the job or not. Maybe it'll be open ended anyway. But I gather he was still in the interview, which is why I didn't pick up. But I mean, my parents and I haven't talked about. We've talked about it, but we're pretty. I assume they're pretty excited. I know I'm very excited. If he got this job, it would be huge for me. It would just be a lot less pressure on me to keep his mental up, to keep his attitude up, because he doesn't have anyone else to talk to for 3-4 days a week, except for me. So I just feel so guilty. Sometimes I'm just not up to having a 20-minute conversation with him, and I'll put it off, and I'll talk to him at the end of the day, and I feel really guilty. Sometimes I don't talk to him at all, like once every 2 weeks, and I feel really guilty about that, because he'll call me like 6 times, 7 times, and I just can't. Sometimes I just can't do it. And I feel, and it never used to be like that before he lost his job. Never. Sometimes he was tired of just.
Did he give you any like preamble about what the job is, or if he's interested, or did he give you any background on? Do we know what this job is at all? Is he down for the cause, or is he just open to anything?
I think he's now open to anything because I put the fear of God in him that'll end up on the street.
I should laugh at that part.
Yeah, but which he won't end up on the street, but he was being a little complacent, a little lazy, and he does not know what it is. I asked a couple times yesterday, and he's not entirely sure, but he's excited, and I'm excited. I could hear it in his voice. He was very excited, and he was very proud he got an interview. So, want to read the news?
Yeah.
And then
Grandma found this news article.
Yeah, and then we'll give Pete a call after. This is from neurosciencenews.com. A new learning method could help people with autism improve visual perception capabilities. Interesting.
Oh.
A new study from Tel Aviv University proposes a new learning method for people with autism that may accelerate the learning process and even significantly improve capabilities in terms of visual perception. According to the researchers, improving the perceptual capacity of people with autism is often a challenge, which usually requires long and tedious training alongside additional learning challenges that characterizes autism, such as the ability to generalize learning to new situations. The new method proposed by the researchers is based on using memory flashes, which consists of exposing a person for just a few seconds to a task that has already been learned. In comparison to standard teaching practice, which reinforce length and repetition of new skills, the new method demonstrated success in improving both the visual perception capabilities and the generalization of learning, that is, excelling in a similar task in conditions they have not learned before for people with autism. The study was conducted by doctoral student Shira Klofeld Ausländer and Professor Nitzen Sensor from the School of Psychological Sciences
Better you than me.
and Sagel School of Neuroscience at Tel Aviv University, in collaboration with Professor Ilan Distin and his team from Ben Gurion University. The study was published in the Journal of Current Biology, which is better than the old biology book.
Outdated biology.
Outdated biology. Worst. Professor Sensor explains.
Did it say censor? CENSOR. Crazy.
Yeah. Explains that in my laboratory we focus on the study of learning in humans, and already today we know that a large part of learning does not happen in formal training settings, but afterwards, in processes of assimilation and reinforcement of memory that occur offline, for example, when our brain is asleep. However, standard teaching methods still advocate an approach where longer practice equals better learning. If you want to play the piano, you should practice playing the piano for many hours every day until the playing becomes second nature to you. We have identified an alternative learning mechanism that uses memory flashes, a brief exposure to task what has already been learned in order to assimilate and generalize skill development. In the study, the research team examined about 30 high-functioning adults with autism who were asked to learn visual tasks. For example, identifying the direction of lines that appear for a few milliseconds on the screen. However, instead of repeating the task for a long time each day, the examinees in the main experimental group learned the task in depth on the first day, and in the following days were exposed to the visual stimulus for only a few seconds. At the end of the process, although the study participants studied the task for a minimal amount of time, their performance improved significantly by about 20 to 25, similar to multiple repetition learning and similar to the achievements of subjects without autism. That's pretty impressive. Moreover, even when presented with the task under new unlearned conditions, for example, when the stimulus learned is in a new location, the examinees who learned the memory flash method performed better than those in the control group. That is, they knew how to generalize the skills learned in the first task. The participants' success in generalizing and learning to other situations is considered quite significant, as these skills that people with autism have great difficulty with. We have already proven in previous studies the process of learning assimilation can be improved through flashes of memory, says Professor Sensor. Or did he say that?
Does he censor himself?
He censored himself. Who knows what else he said? We have shown that it does not take prolonged practice time to assimilate the task. It is enough to flash it for a few seconds to stimulate the relevant brain network, and the brain will then assimilate the material on its own. In a case we tested with people with autism. People with autism often have difficulty learning and generalizing repetitive learning, that is, using tools that have also been learned in new tasks. Through short flashes of visual stimulus in the task learned, we were able to produce learning that is identical to repetitive learning in terms of effectiveness, meaning we significantly shortened the learning time. I could use that. The added value of the ability to generalize the examinees performed a task under new conditions as if they had fully learned it. According to Professor Sensor, the new method may have significant potential implications in a wide range of areas. The new study could prove the way for more meaningful approaches to learning for people with autism in a wide variety of tasks. In addition, the method may help in rehabilitation after neurological injuries. That is, in training the brain to regenerate the damaged connections through shorter training. It's pretty interesting. What do you think, Kirk?
I listened, and I actually read along with you this time. I don't always do that. But I'm not quite sure I understand. It says, instead of repeating the task for a long term, the examinees in the main experiment group learned the task in depth the first day and then followed days were exposed to visual stimulants for only a few seconds.
Well, let me read the summary. Visual skill learning is the process of improving responses to surrounding visual stimuli. For individuals with autism spectrum disorder, efficient skill learning may be especially valuable due to potential difficulties with sensory processing and challenges in adjusting flexibility to changing environments.
Okay.
So basically, we're going to take a more scenic route. Where instead of just doing traditional learning through repetition, we're just going to show you over and over and over and over and over again. And then that'll even when you're asleep, you'll be thinking about it. And then when you have to...
I like the idea.
Yeah. I think I understood that correctly. I might be wrong. Maybe I need to do this therapy so I can understand this article. I'd like to read Professor Sensor's
uncensored paper.
Uncensored paper.
Well, it's always interesting to read about learning because that's one of the things, as we talked about earlier when I had called my son and you're asking me, you're in the background, like, what is he saying exactly? And it's like, he's learned to repeat.
Right.
Or what we call parrot, where he repeats back things that he's heard, and then you hope that he repeats it back in the right context. But it's a constant thing with him. You're trying to continually teach him things and continually, hope that he keeps improving. I'm guessing the same with Pete as far as trying to keep him with this new job. I'm sure there's things he's gonna have to learn, and so that's gonna be one of the challenges. Like he just learned that he does work weekends.
We're teaching we're creating new neural pathways.
Yeah.
One hopefully leading to working weekends and a new job.
Sounds good to me. I like it.
All right. Well, let's give Peter another call.
Yeah, give him the old ring ding.
It's been an hour since his interview started. He should be out, right?
Should be. Maybe he silenced his phone as a good little employee.
Yeah, maybe they already put him to work. I wonder. I tell you what, Kirk, this would be a real boon for me. He also sometimes just doesn't answer his phone if he's not
He's not in the mood.
not in the mood, which is frustrating because I guess I do that sometimes, but very rarely. I'm like, you know, I call you like twice a week. Pick up. Well, we'll check back in later, folks.
Stay tuned. We'll give you the update next week for sure. That'll probably be the lead story next week's, one way or another.
Absolutely. Everyone, cross your fingers for Pete. Any parting shots?
Now I'm back in New York this week working. Got a few more sets downtown in the Village, and then back on the ships. What do you got going on, Grandma?
Well, folks, I got a big thing happening.
Ooh.
I have a comedy special taping that's going to happen in Brooklyn, New York on
Forgot about that. That's
Friday, August 19th. It's a big deal for me. I'm funding it myself. I got a whole crew hired, and I got to sell out this show. So I've paid for this crew, this camera crew, sound crew, lighting crew, makeup.
Makeup.
And if nobody shows up, I'm just paying these people to hang out.
That's egg on your face.
Egg on my face. And I got to feed these people, too.
Not the egg. Something else.
So, yeah.
So if you're in New York City, guys, come out one more time. What is the date, Graham?
It is Friday, August 19th.
Where is it?
You can get tickets at grahamk.com. It is at The Gutter, which is a bowling alley bar and also a comedy venue. They got a pretty cool little theater in the back, that they have bands, and it's like a rock venue. It's a pretty awesome venue. Great for a date, I'll tell you that. And to all my Canadians listening, this is a rare thing to happen in an American bar, but they have bubble hockey.
Ooh.
It's the best. Anyway, come for comedy, stay for bubble hockey. And, tickets can be found at grahamk.com. They're $10. Also, I'm going to be in Tulsa, Oklahoma, starting August 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. And I'm going to be in OKC the following weekend, which I believe is like, I don't know, somewhere around the 14th. Let me look at this. Yeah, 11, 12, 13. So that's it.
That's it, guys. Have a great week. Add us on social media, our Patreon. As always, we appreciate it. Social media is Kirk Smith Comedy, Graham K Comedy.
Well, Mr. Graham K now. It's Mr. Graham K.
Have a great week, guys. You can do it.